I'm Logan Webb, and you're listening to TortureCast.
Swinging. There's a high drive. Deep into left center field. It's on its way. Adios! Pelota!
Let's go, Giants! SF Giants! Let's go, Giants! SF Giants!
A grand slam for Buster Posey's good friend.
A podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Chad King, Eric Nathanson, and Willie Dills. This is the TortureCast.
It's Wednesday, June 18th, 2025, and this is episode 317 of the TortureCast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. I'm your host, Chad King, and joining us today is newly acquired Rafael Devers with an oh, I'm just kidding, I wish. No, we got Willie Dills and Eric aboard today. Eric, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited. This Devers trade, I mean, I don't think we've ever seen anything like this in our lifetime. I don't think we have a comp. I don't think the Bond signing is a comp. So, like, this is just crazy. I can't believe this is happening. It's still surreal.
Yeah, Willie, first gut reaction.
Well, honestly, I know Devers is great. He was a little off my radar because I don't really pay that much attention to the American League, and so I knew how good, his numbers were amazing. But since we've gotten him, I've gone down the rabbit hole of Devers highlights and Devers stats, and I don't think there was anybody out there available that would have been better than this. It's pretty nuts that this is what happened. It's like a top 5 hitter in the American League. And, yes, we had to give up some stuff for him, but nothing of real significance, in my opinion. And so this is just as good as like a huge signing in the offseason or something. We just happened to do it right in the middle of the season and fix the one glaring hole on our team right now, which is offense and power hitting specifically. So, hell yeah, dude, let's go. I'm stoked.
I mean, for as long as we've done this podcast, and honestly since the Bonds departure after the 2007 season, there's been few and far between a power hitting, elite hitting free agent coming to Oracle Park. And that's always been the glaring hole. We can sign pitchers, no problem. We sign infielders, no problem. We sign utility players, no problem. We've signed infielders that are good, like a Matt Chapman and all that, but not, I'm not going to call him a generational talent. He's not Shohei Ohtani or Aaron Judge, but he's up there. He's in that second tier to almost first tier of player. I mean, he's way up there. And like you said, it came out of nowhere, man. But reading, we'll get into the story in a little bit, but reading how this kind of came to fruition was pretty amazing. And all I'm going to say is that initial reports indicate to me, and this is just my opinion when I'm reading the tea leaves, is that this is something that maybe only a few GMs could have done, and Buster Posey's one of them. Mm-hmm. So, I mean,
I gotta wonder if other GMs. I wonder if other GMs are out there like, wait, what? Devers was just available?
Yeah,
and,
right.
And we could have just sent a ragtag group of pitchers and one significant prospect for sure, but a guy who's still far away from the major leagues, and that's that's the package. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you expected at least a Wisenhunt or something like that, right? No,
you
not at all.
You didn't have to move Eldridge. You didn't have to move.
You didn't have to move Eldridge.
I mean, what the hell? Dude? This is crazy. No. And obviously Harrison is I think somebody that a lot of people had a lot of high hopes for. Mm-hmm. I personally don't think that he was ever going to be more than say a 2 or 3 guy in a rotation. That's just how I felt watching him because, he relies a lot on the velocity of his fastball, which seemed to be inconsistent, right? And he had cool arm action and everything, but to me, it's not like Logan Webb. You instantly knew this is an ace,
Right.
To me, he did not look like he was going to develop into an ace. A very quality starter in the majors for sure at some point in his career, but that is a price I am willing to pay. is a guy like that. We didn't have to touch our number one prospect or, a significant arm, in my opinion. And we were loaded on arms right now.
It always hurts to give up your best prospects. But here's the thing. Rafael Devers is a known. He's a very well-known player.
He's
right?
proven.
He's in his prime.
Yeah.
He has proven for multiple seasons. He's doing well this year, slashing 272 with 15 bombs and over 15 ribbies, right? He is a great talent. We don't know where these prospects are going to end up. I mean, Kyle Harrison has been in the big leagues for, parts of 2-3 seasons. And like you said, he might be a solid middle of the rotation starter at some point in his career. But I don't think, he certainly is not a Zach Wheeler, right? He's not a Logan Webb.
I heard some people say that, and I was like, come on, guys.
Yeah, it's like, come on, guys. He's not Zach Wheeler. And by the way, Zach Wheeler took 8 years before he finally did anything. So people who argue that still, and the flip side of that, of course, is that Carlos Beltran was a rental. They got Devers for 8 more years. They got him through the 2033 season, guys. So, to get this all-star for the next 8 years for the cost of Kyle Harrison, Jordan Hicks, who of course blew up and we don't miss him at all. They're better prospects, James Tibbs III, and then pitcher Jose Bello. I'm like, that's it?
That's it.
That's it?
They clearly just wanted to dump the salary. It's very clear.
I was scrolling. I was like looking for the additional player or players, and that was it. I was like, dude, I would have done that in a half a second. I would have even probably slipped and said, "That's it" to the Red Sox. Like, oops, I didn't mean that.
They literally put that the Giants taking on the contract was like, it looked like it was like, and they're taking on the contract like it was like a guy, like a player. Yeah, I'm like, who cares? Of course we are. Like, what are you talking about? That's not a part of this deal that matters. We know that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And honestly, he signed a few years ago where the price is still pretty good. If you think about what it's going to cost, if say next year we were to try to land a Devers type hitter in the offseason, what we would have to pay that guy, So this contract does not look that crazy to me. And in 5 years, if he's producing, it's going to look really good compared to what other guys are getting paid, right?
Yeah, and they got to pay him another $254 million over 8.5 years because this is the half year, and then 8 more years on top of that. And so going through it, it's 15.6 next year, 27.5 in 2026. Then it goes 31, 31, 31, 31, 29, 29, 29. Each of those years is 7.5 deferred. And then he also gets a $2 million trade bonus for the move or whatever. But like you said, Willie, for a talent of his caliber, the inflation's already hit where it's a deal now. It certainly is going to be a deal next year, and it's certainly going to be a deal 5, 6, 7 years from now when he's getting paid $31 million. So this is just I don't see any downside to this trade. I don't see any of them. Even if Kyle Harrison becomes an ace in the major leagues, I don't care. It's still a great deal. They needed this hitter. They have pitching. They have the best bullpen in the majors. They have decent starters. They have other guys in the holster ready to come up in the next year or two. So this is okay.
We have an ace. We don't need an ace. We have that. We're good there. And there's other starting pitching that is still coming up on the way up. That is, in my opinion, comparable or significantly better at least stuff-wise, in my opinion, to what Harrison could be. Sure. Hicks, I think, is a guy who might have just needed a new place to be and go back to just being a bullpen guy and accepting that that's his role. And he might be great as well. And then Tibbs, yes, he could become awesome. But like you said, this is a proven all-star. A guy who gets MVP votes. You know what I mean? Like, he gets those. So do we have anybody else on our team who's right now going to be getting MVP votes? No. So he instantly becomes our best hitter. I guess the big question that we all started to talk about at first was, where does he play? And even if he just is a DH, that's fine. I don't think that's what's going to end up happening, though. I think it sounds like he's going to actually be willing to move to first base. So there was the black hole, right, on our team, first base. So
Well, he's only going to have to do it for this year, though. I mean, it really does sound like from the press conference that Eldridge is coming next year.
Sure.
And Buster, I got to say, Buster, like, basically turned the franchise on its ear. We are clearly out of the Farhan Zaidi era. By getting rid of Hicks, I think that was a big, big sign in that because, we've talked about it. Hicks was a Farhan signing promising to start. And we're all like, this guy sucks. What are we doing here? And so they're able to ship him out in that process. And so Buster not only was able to do something that Farhan never could do, he got rid of some of Farhan's junk in the process. And it was a great way for him to put his stamp on this team. I thought it was fascinating that it was Buster and Craig Breslow of the Red Sox that got this done and not the two general managers. Like, I watched that entire press conference yesterday. Zach Manasian didn't say a word. Like, this guy's the general manager, and they just made the biggest trade acquisition of probably our lifetime, and the GM didn't say a word. I found it fascinating. It just shows us that it's Buster's team. And the fact that they're willing to take on the money, the fact that Buster was able to convince the other owners that it'd be worth it. Greg Johnson, even himself, sounded like, I'm willing to spend the money if we're going to, basically make the money. So, I think we are fully into the Buster Posey era. We can now start to judge everything, even though it's still very early in the era, but with a huge swing by Buster early in his tenure. And I love that. I absolutely love that he has basically said, we're going to do a complete 180 from the Farhan years, and we're just going to do what we want, find good players, because all Raffy wants to do is hit. I mean, you could hear it yesterday when he was talking about it. The guy's just like, nope, I just want to hit. Nope, and Buster's like, hitters hit. And it really puts Buster's stamp on this organization, and we can say this is Buster's team for the next 5, 6, 7 years at this point.
It's pretty amazing because he was a third baseman in Boston before Bregman showed up. And even though Chapman is going to be the third baseman here, and he knows this, and he already said in the press conference he's willing to play anywhere, which is why he might end up at first base for the rest of this year. It is interesting how this happened in Boston because not only it was a salary dump, but clearly tensions mounted until the relationship just fractured. And I just have a couple of quotes from Yahoo that kind of sum up some of the tension that happened. This is from Yahoo. It wasn't the result of a trade demand or a front office trying to shed salary. It was the culmination of eroded trust, fraying relationships, and a deeper breakdown inside one of baseball's most visible franchises. This all started back in February when the Red Sox signed Alex Bregman, another all-star third baseman. At his first news conference of the season, Devers told reporters that the team had assured him third base was still his. Then they handed Bregman the job. Devers, the last remaining member of the 2018 World Series team, had signed a 10-year, $313 million extension in 23 with the expectation that he'd be treated like a franchise player. Instead, he felt misled. He believed Chief Baseball Officer Craig Breslow had gone back on his word. And there's more stuff that happened later with meetings and tensions that mounted, but that was a big one there. And then finally, when one of their rookie first basemen got injured, they asked him to play first base. And he said no. He said, you could shove it up your butt, basically. So,
well, there was also some stuff where, he who's the manager over there again? I'm blanking.
Alex Cora.
Cora.
Yeah, Cora had literally said disparaging remarks in post game comments about Devers' defense. And it's like, dude, what are you doing, man? Yeah. That's your guy, and that's not going to happen here. And I could already see just the look on his face of just being relieved that whatever the situation was in Boston is over for him. And, he looked like a very happy man all day yesterday in every single situation I saw him in. Yeah. And, it's like I could just see the relief. And that means to me, like, he'll come here with just a good feeling. And obviously he has friends on this team. Willie Adames and him apparently go way back, and like the guy, it sounds like it's not, because I've heard some people say, well, if he's not willing to play first for the team, like that's like locker room cancer type stuff, and I'm like, yeah, that goes both ways. That can come from management as well as a player, and it sounds like he just felt mistreated as a cornerstone of a team. That's crazy. Why would you do that, Boston? I don't understand. And Boston has kind of become a little bit of a laughingstock right now.
Well, they're operating like a low-budget team. That's what's going on with them.
3 all-star players in a span of what, like 5 years? That's insane.
5-6 years.
Well,
Yeah, well,
a
I mean,
lot of
and
the Boston fans are like, this is shades of Mookie Betts, right? And they're pissed.
it better be.
Yeah,
Yeah, they had Mookie,
nice.
Xander, and
I want 2 titles.
yeah.
No,
But,
Boston
I mean-
also mishandled the new rookie phenom that just came up and played right field. He made some miscues in right field. His defense isn't great, and so they were saying, and I didn't know this before, or what they did. But normally, you're going to take your extra reps, kind of without the media around, behind closed doors, in the middle of the afternoon before media can come in. Well, they were doing all the right field drills, like novice type drills, pounding him over and over and over again after the media showed up. And so a lot of people, including the Boston clubhouse, are like, you can't treat any of the players that way. It's humiliating. And so they just seem to be stepping on their shoes over and over and over again. And so, yeah, Boston is not, apparently it is, one of the executives or front office people who was anonymous said it's a shit show over here. So, yeah, things are kind of falling apart, and this is one of the reasons they got rid of Devers.
They also have a little bit of a reputation as a bad media town, which I think started to mess with him a little bit too, as in like the media is very hard on the players, right? And I think he's going to find very quickly that that's not going to happen here. Yeah. We're going to love him.
Yep. There's no doubt. Anyway, Giants fans are shocked right now. You look at the overwhelming opinion from neutral parties, from Boston fans, from Boston media, from San Francisco media to ESPN, MLB Network, or whatever, is the Red Sox got fleeced. They absolutely got fleeced on this one. Yeah, it's a salary dump, and they got rid of someone they were having problems with because of the management. But they got fleeced, man. It seems to me that another team would have given more than the Giants did. But maybe it was just they wanted to execute it with speed. I don't know. It was like fire sale, take it or leave it. We got to get this guy out of here. I don't know. It was an amazing deal. And like you said, nothing like this has happened in a very long time. And obviously we all remember the Hunter Pence trade. But that is not a comp, right?
0 times.
Yeah, Hunter Pence is great.
Right.
But that's not it. Barry Bonds was a signing. It was a free agent signing. Yeah, there's nothing. It's just nothing. There's nothing out there. So this is definitely historic.
I mean, maybe when they traded away Matt Williams was maybe just as stunning, but in a reverse direction.
Sure.
When they got Jeff Kent, that kind of thought process. Right. And look at what Kent turned out to be. And Williams was in decline at that point. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that was the Sabian. That was the deal that Sabian put his balls out there on, and it worked out. But that's the closest comp I can think of. There's nobody else we've ever acquired.
Usually, too, a move like this, where you acquire a big bat, is a guy who's on the last year of his contract, and the team is trying to cash in and get something before.
Right.
Yeah, that's the
he's
rental.
done. This is a guy signed for 8 years. We got and real quick, I just want to highlight Devers. We have for 8 more years. Adames is on a 7-year contract. Chapman's on a 6-year. Robbie Ray's on 5. Jung-Hoo Lee's on 6. Logan's on 5. These are the core of this team, are all going to be here for a long time. And to me, that spells a lot of potential for real deep runs. You know what I mean? This is these are the guys you build around.
It speaks to Buster's 180 from Farhan. Farhan was churning people in and out every day. And now under Buster, they're like, all right, we want solid leadership, a core, and consistency. And it's beautiful. It really seemed dark at the end of that Farhan. And we were not sure how Buster was going to be. But when he makes moves like this, I mean, hell yeah, I'm all in.
I don't want to hear the words opt out ever again in my life. You know what I mean? I'm just so sick of it, dude.
Oh my gosh. And I do say on Reddit and other sites, there's been 1 out of 100 comments are like, I hate this trade. This is just like the Carlos Beltran. And people just pile
just like that.
Huh? How are you even comparing it, guy? Come on, man. Carlos Beltran ended up having he played 46 games for the Giants. Devers is going to play 8.5 years. It's a little different. So,
well, wasn't Beltran on the last year of his contract too? Like it wasn't a straight up rental.
No, it was
straight
a
up rental. Yeah,
that's exactly right. It was a rental, and he got hurt. And then people, I always hate the whole Zach Wheeler thing. It was 8 years till he developed. He had injury problems, all sorts of stuff.
You got to let that go, man.
Yeah,
the
Giants would have parted ways with him anyway. It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
It's sometimes a guy develops, sometimes a guy doesn't. We've had a million guys that we thought were going to be amazing. Luciano is like a perfect example. I've heard that name so many freaking times for like 5-6 years now. And where is he? You know what I mean? Like yes, sometimes Zach Wheeler happens. Yes, sometimes. Yeah. But most of the time it doesn't happen.
Hey, by the way,
when you have Devers, that
was the 2011 season. They ended up winning in 12 and 14 without Zach Wheeler. I think we'll take that. I think that's okay. So
yeah, it turned out all right.
Yeah. Oh, man. So anyway, I'm happy as hell. I'm sure most Giants fans are. Now, if it will only translate into more wins, because last week we were riding high on a 7-game winning streak, and the very next day, they coughed up 4 runs in the 9th. And they lost in heartbreak fashion, walk-off fashion to the Colorado Rockies 8-7. Of course, that was helped out by Casey Schmidt error, which allowed, I think, a couple of unearned runs. He did atone for that the next night, hitting a grand slam in a win in L.A. Unfortunately, that's their only win this whole past week. They've done
been a little bit rough for a week.
Yeah, it's been a little rough because they lost 2 out of 3 in L.A.
Honestly, one out of 3 to L.A. is, if you'd have told me there was going to be 1 out of 3 and not assume, I'd been like, okay, that seems fair.
But it hurts when it's the first one, right?
No, we were riding high off of what an amazing first game we had.
Yeah.
And then obviously we got smacked down to reality when in the second game we gave up 11 runs. But, to me, it was just like, this is just how the season kind of has been going. Hopefully what this Devers thing does, though, is means we just have more consistency. We don't have these crazy streaks of somehow finding a way. We just actually score 5 or 6 runs a game. Yeah. That would be nice. And I think that we will end up getting there. I know we're losing tonight. We lost yesterday. This is two games in. I'm not that concerned. The lineup needs to kind of adjust, and everyone needs to figure out where they're landing now, because there has been a little bit of movement. So, and Devers is already showing his value. So I'm not worried about him.
In his debut in the City Connect Barf Unis, he did get 2 hits, including a nice smack double in the right center field gap. I know. It was like his first. It was like, oh, man, that purple haze crap. It's like, what the hell? Yeah. Anyway, 1992 font script or something. But the biggest news last night, besides Devers, the Giants went 1 for 13 with runners in scoring position, including having the bases loaded in the 9th with 1 out and the tying run sitting right there.
What was the one, by the way? The one? The one was Devers, right?
Oh, it had to have been. Wasn't there a runner on second? Or maybe the runner
when Adames was on. Wasn't Adames on second when he hit the double? Or am I misremembering?
Yeah, it was Adames that scored, I believe.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knocked in a run, had 2 hits. But, their lack of the timely hitting last night. I mean, if they had 2 or 3 hits, if they were 2 or 3 for 13, which is still not good, they could have won that game. They would have won that game. So it's just frustrating. And like you said tonight.
Or Jung-Hoo Lee takes a chance, or sorry, Matt Williams actually probably takes a chance and sends Jung-Hoo Lee on a medium fly ball when he's at third. I will say it was.
I think he should have sent him. I get the Quan threw the ball 90 miles an hour, but he was a lefty thrower moving to his right towards the line as he caught it. And the throw was a little up the line, so much so that the catcher had to pop up to block it. Yes, it got there quickly, but there's no saying that they would have made the exchange and he would have gotten the tag on.
The exchange, the tag, all that has to happen.
Right.
And the next hitter with 2 outs is Casey Schmidt, so I'm sorry.
Right.
You send the guy. You know what I mean? You take your shots.
It's not like he's facing Kiki Hernandez in the 9th. It's Class A. Schmidt's going to get beat. He's not going to hit a grand slam off of Kike again. It's Class A. So, I think they should have forced it. I'm not happy with Williams at all this season. I think he is way too soft. He just doesn't seem to want to be aggressive. There's been 1 or 2 times. Ramos, the other night, he should have just run through the stop sign because he absolutely would have scored on one of the plays. And I think Williams is just a little too cautious and does not read the ball as well as he could.
Yeah.
Well, one of our walk-offs was Fitzgerald running through a stop sign.
It certainly was.
I wonder if the players actually trust his judgment right now. Because because
I don't.
I'm kind of like there's been a couple times too. The player wasn't even looking at him. I can't even remember who it was, but was like looking straight down, and not even picking up Matt Williams. And so I don't know. I don't know if there's something to that, but
he's throwing the stop sign up too early. He's got to give the play a little more time to develop some of these times. I get that he's coming down the line to be in their line of sight, but you don't have to have your hands up right away. Like, be ready to go, up or wave.
Sure.
But that's what I think the issue is I think he's making the call too soon.
When the grandson of the wind is on third base, I think you send him, dude. I'm just saying. I think you send him.
Right.
Yeah, he's one of the faster guys on the team, but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
agree. I think Williams is a little conservative.
Going to take the loss.
But what are you going to do? So coming into tonight's game, they're 9 games over 500, 3.5 back of LA. They were tied with them just 4 days ago, guys, after their first win.
Didn't it?
I mean, they lost 3.5 games in 4 days because they had an off day there. But, LA's won 4 in a row. They've lost 3 in a row. At least they're still second in the wild card, 1.5 games ahead of the Padres and 2.5 ahead of the Milwaukee Brewers, who are just outside of the 3 teams. So, I mean, they're not, it's not a comfortable lead at all.
Are they challenging this?
They are losing tonight, 4-2 in the 8th already. So, I mean, if they lose this game, that'll be 5 out of 6 and 4 in a row.
Look, we're just setting ourselves up for another walk-off.
So,
this is how we do.
Last night it was set up for a walk-off, Willie. Didn't happen.
That's true. It was.
That would have been their 9th walk-off, which already still, I mean, they still lead the MLB right now. But I thought for sure, I actually thought it was happening. I thought it was happening last night. I was like, how's it going to happen? First night with Devers, going to happen.
The line, didn't they? Yep. So I want to bring up a couple of things real quick. Devers, this is more just Devers hype, obviously. But if you look at the Devers Baseball Savant page, there's a lot of red on this guy's page.
A lot of red.
I was doing that all last night.
Dark red, okay? So anybody out there who is still hurt by Zach Wheeler becoming good, I just invite you to take a look at his
Isn't he
page.
hard hit or barrel percentage like 50% or something? Like something insane?
So he's in the top 97% percentile exit velocity, average exit velocity.
Yeah.
So this man matches. Walk percentage, by the way, 99 percentile. Like, this man takes his walks.
Well, you know what's amazing about that? He's already almost at his career high in walks. He's at like 57 or something, or 58, and his career high is 67. Something changed this year, and he's just taking more walks.
He's also 28, and he's a 9-year vet. So let's think about that for a second too. This is a man who has been at the big league level for his entire adult life, basically, and he's still in his prime. In fact, we could say the way modern baseball works with the way that we train our bodies and take care of our bodies. Obviously, Devers has got a little bit of Pablo in him. Like, he's got the classic slugger look. He's a big boy though. He's a big boy. He's not fat. He's just big.
He is not the grandson of the wind. He might be the grandson of the of the mud or something.
But the way that baseball players in the modern era take care of their bodies, I really do believe the 28 to like 34, 35-ish era, that is your prime, right? That is when you will put together your best seasons if you stay healthy. And also, another little fun fact about Devers for all the haters and the doubters out there, he has stayed healthy his entire baseball career. So he's not, injury prone, basically. He always plays a lot of baseball games. So I'm just trying to find any reason to be upset about this, and I'm not finding it. I can't find anything.
No,
other than maybe the fact that it's led at third base, but that's not an issue.
Only 2 years he played less than 100 games, and that was his first year, 2017, and then 2020, which was
one was the COVID year.
Shortened, it was COVID year.
Yeah.
But if you look at the bombs in all the other years, it's 21, 32, 38, 27, 33, 28, and he's at 15, and we're not even at the halfway mark. So he's going to probably hit over 30 this year.
We're going to get 30, guys.
Well, yeah.
It's not going to count.
It's not going to count. It's not. I was thinking the same thing.
We're going to wait for next year.
He'll be the first one, though,
maybe
probably
Ramos
next year.
Yeah. No, maybe Ramos would do it. I mean, these guys are feeding off each other a little.
I still think Matt Chapman could do it too.
Yeah. It's interesting. I was looking at Ramos's stats, and they're not. I mean, they're not comparable to Devers. They're not that far below Devers. Ramos has
they're
got some
good.
good numbers, man. He's got some good
I think
numbers.
Ramos is going to get paid in a couple years, right? I think he's got 2 years before we have to actually shell out the money, but I think it's going to happen for him.
Yeah.
I really do.
No, it's I don't know. I'm over the moon about this signing. It's freaking unbelievable. So, just real quick as we wind up here. Transactions, injuries. Of course, we saw Verlander on the hill tonight. Gave up a 3-run bomb. So he's on the hook for the loss
Wasn't
right now.
helped by an error by Fitzgerald, though, to be fair.
No, that's one earned run. But
It hit the lip. It didn't hit the lip. Sorry.
It didn't hit the lip. No. Yeah. It just came up on him, which is,
It did.
To be fair, it did come up on him.
but he's still going to be searching for that first win, guys. Still going to be searching for that first win.
Just apologizing.
Patrick Bailey is
No,
back.
Kuiper was just looking out for a fellow second baseman on that. It did
I
not
think
hit
so.
the lip. Yeah, you're
Must have been, right? To make room, they option catcher Logan Porter, and reliever Tristan Beck back to Sacramento, and then
just
Encarnacion.
one of our sub 200 hitting catchers.
Right.
Just one of them.
We've got like 5 of them,
that one.
apparently. They got like a new one every other
catcher.
week.
He did a good job, that Logan Porter, pitching that one inning, throwing the ball 38 miles an hour the other night.
That was fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
That's good.
They got their money's worth.
Encarnacion was placed on the 10-day injured list, back on the injured list with a left oblique strain. Yeah, so there you
Snake
go.
bit.
Snake bit. And coming up, we got another one versus Cleveland tomorrow after tonight. 3 versus Boston, which is going to be interesting. He gets traded from Boston, and within 3 games, he's facing Boston. That's just weird,
that's just always how it is, though, right? It's
it seems
the thing
like
when
it.
A guy makes a great play in the field, and then he's leading off the
And
next
he's leading
inning.
off,
It's like, we're going to make a trade
That's how it happens.
for this guy. Of course, we're playing Boston, and we only play them
every 3 years.
whatever one.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, we play everybody every year.
Now we play
only
everybody,
play 3 games a year. Yeah, but we only
Yeah.
play them 3 times a year.
Yeah, and
No.
it just so happens to be literally the same week that we acquire their best player. I don't, hey, it's gonna be fun. That's gonna be must be TV right there.
I'll say this: like right now, Cleveland brought in a left-handed pitcher for the bottom of the 8th, where Adames is leading off and Devers is in the 2-hole this inning. And the whole reason they brought in a lefty was because of Devers. Like that's immediately how he changes things. It's unbelievable to see this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
now
Adames
gets to face a lefty. I mean, our righty heavy lineup. This is actually one more silver lining to this deal is we've got another left-handed bat finally. And Jung Hoo Lee and God, who's our other lefty right now? Now I'm
Yaz.
Yaz. Yeah, Jung Hoo Lee and Yaz are not just sitting on an island by themselves as the only ones who could possibly hit one into the water. And Devers will hit a lot into the water as well.
Yeah, you talk about that Savant page. Did you see those home runs in the overlay? Like so many of those would be splash hits.
Yep.
I was making a joke about last night's double, like is he pissed that didn't go out? It wasn't going to go out almost anywhere. I mean, it was a hard hit ball, but
didn't have enough height.
No.
Yes.
No, it was a low. Yeah, that wasn't going to happen. Now
and
he
just
that.
popped out.
He flew out to left. So I was hoping.
That's all right. It's going to happen. I mean, he swings violently at the ball.
He really does. Man, talk about torque. That dude has torque.
His barrel percentage and hard hit percentage, I think, career are better than any season by a Giant in the last 10 years. Which is ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous. That's how much of an upgrade a guy like this is. Like, we can't see the results, obviously, immediately, but I think over the course of a few months, we're going to be like, wow, this was ridiculous.
We're going to be looking back at the end of this season and
this,
you were saying there's nothing to compare it to. I mean, in a way, the last time I really changed my excitement level from one day to the next was Buster Posey becoming our starting catcher every single day in 2010, right? And that immediate impact that it had, and that I feel like we could be watching the beginnings of something like that, where suddenly everything feels a little different. It already does, even if we've lost. I know, even when we lost yesterday, we're losing today. It just already feels different.
Yeah,
and
it
time
does feel
will
different.
show.
At some point, it's going to break through. He's
does.
going to go on a mad streak. He's going to have some epic clutch hits, clutch bombs, clutch splash hits. It's going to happen. It's just, it's baseball. It takes the time, right? How many chapters we got? Cleveland, Boston, then Miami, then they go on the road against the White Sox and the Diamondbacks. The reason I cite
That's
some
a
of the
lot of games you're telling us about
in
there,
the
Chad.
future is because we're gonna unfortunately be on about a 2-week break because I am going on vacation. So I do hope to record on July 3rd. I'll check with the fellas. If not, it'll have to be the week after that. But yeah, we'll be back in about a couple of weeks. But
okay,
and then
that'll give all of this plenty of time to settle in and breathe a little bit,
marinate.
And we'll really know what this team looks like.
Yeah.
And if any more moves need to be made, I'm hoping this is it. I'm hoping this is the one, and that's it.
I hope so, because if they go in a tailspin for whatever reason, then you might. Buster Posey, I mean, it looks like he's ready to be aggressive. So if they have a distinct need for something, if he wants to shake up the roster again, whatever it is, he might do it. He might do it. So I'm hoping not, only because I just hope they succeed. I hope they settle into a pattern. They play like 600 ball, 650 ball. And they just kind of maintain at least, holding that wild card position and maybe somehow surprising the Dodgers. Just like, 4 days ago, they were tied for first. It was like, what's going on here? This is amazing. And
this is already
it was over.
Major shakeup.
Yeah.
If you think about it, right? Like, certainly. And we just had one. So, yeah, I don't see why he wouldn't be willing to do it a third time.
Why not, man? He's getting paid, to do this.
I'll say this one last thing about Buster, and there's something different about him than the other presidents around baseball. Not every president has an ownership stake in the team.
Mm-hmm.
So Buster is in a different position than many, many other teams, where he does have to clear it with like Greg Johnson and the board, but he carries a kind of different influence because he's bought into the franchise himself.
Sure.
And I think that really helps when making things like this happen. And I'm really impressed that Buster decided to throw his weight around and do what he thought was best for the team.
I mean,
that's my
Buster,
last thought.
not every president of baseball operations has a big old swinging dick like Buster either. You know what I mean? He's built different.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
He speaks softly. He's a big dick.
He is unique in his position, and I do wonder the psychology of it with the other GMs. All these guys, a lot of these GMs in baseball, president of operations, have huge egos, and they're type A, and they're go-getters. But at the same time, a lot of them, most of them, are not ex-players, certainly not ex-All-Stars, and certainly not ex-future Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers. So, that have World Series rings as players, right? 3 of them.
They're not guys who can walk into any bar in San Francisco and never pay for it.
So there's got to be there's got to be some modicum of respect, and I don't know. Yep. Maybe it helps Buster negotiate. Maybe there's a little bit of that, it's almost like a character thing, right? Like he's got charisma, but it's not charisma. It's just baseball royalty. He's got it. And so that might go a little bit in some of these negotiations. I don't know.
I feel like if he asked me to do anything, I will just say yes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, this move just opens up the door.
The spell of his hazel eyes, and they just
like, hey man, can I? You might want to take your wife out for a date. I'm like, sure. I mean, I don't see what's wrong with that.
You want Devers for some bubble gum and some seeds? No problem.
Okay, definitely.
Sure. Jedi mind trick or something. Man, all right.
It's something, man. He's got it going, though.
It's good shit. And you know what? This is going to be good for future free agent signings, too. I know I can say it's not bad.
That's where I was going.
So it's going to be
We didn't even mention that yet, and that is so true. When you have a guy like Devers already there, I mean, think about like the magnetism Ohtani has brought to the Dodgers already, right?
Yeah.
It's like the moment, or Mookie, I guess, before him. But the moment you get that guy, then everyone else is like, okay, well, that sounds like a good place to be, So everybody in baseball is going to be looking at the Giants a little different now.
And especially if Devers thrives here, like he puts up his good numbers, and someone doesn't go, oh look, his power numbers didn't plummet because he's playing at Oracle. Mm-hmm. They're fine. So yeah, maybe there's something to that.
I'm calling it 5 splash hits for Devers the rest of the year. 5.
The rest of the year. Okay.
Yes, I think that's possible.
That's a lot.
It is.
But I think it could be done for sure.
Yeah, that's one.
He's got that violent swing, Yeah.
Yeah.
I see it.
All right, well, that's going to do it for episode, what are we on? 317. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. As I said, you can follow us collectively at TortureCast on X, Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it, at ChadK21 for myself, at 2OutHits for Eric with the number 2. And Willie, where can, Instagram? Where can people follow you?
Yeah,
Anywhere?
I'm still on Instagram.
Blue Sky?
Yeah, you can follow me there. I'm just Willie. I'm Willie Dills on Instagram, so you can
There
check
you
me
go.
out there. I don't post that much, but
Right.
mostly it's just pictures of my dog. But yeah,
Give me
good
more
stuff.
pictures of Raffy now. So you're gonna get a new
Yeah.
dog. Name him Raffy. And both of them.
If I do get another dog, I think Raffy is a great name for a dog.
It is kind of a good name.
That
So.
feels right. Yeah.
And then you can also check us out at facebook.com/torchcast or torchcast.com. So that'll do it for Willie. For Eric, this is Chad signing off. We'll see you in a couple of weeks for episode 318. Until then, go Raffy, go Giants. Boom.
A big thank you to everybody for listening to the Torture Cast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Follow us on Twitter at TortureCast. You can also like us on Facebook or check out our blog at torturecast.com. I also want to say thank you to Ashcon and Bailey for letting us use their song Feeling Like a Giant for our intro. For Ben Lee and Chad King, my name is Willie Dills saying, we'll see you next time.